Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast. Solly here. This past week's been a big travel week for the squad. Randy and Cody are headed to Wales for the AIG Women's Open. Neil, DJ, and TC are in Nebraska as we speak on a filming trip. We will get to our weekly recap episode with a guest this week. Shane Bacon is going to join me to chat about this past week in golf, some topics, and the usual Sunday recap. But before we get into that, we did want to share a few words about what went out this past week in case you missed it on social media or don't subscribe to our newsletter. Kevin Van Valkenburg is no longer with No Laying Up. We are incredibly grateful for the time we had working with Kevin. We're very proud of the work we created together over 2.5 years. We wish him absolutely nothing but the best in whatever is next. He's a great dad, a great friend, a fantastic writer. He's been a close friend of ours for years, well before he started working with us here at No Laying Up, and we'll be the first ones to keep reading, listening, and supporting his work wherever he ends up. Of course, we understand the big question here is why. It's a totally fair question. That said, giving an answer on that would mean getting into details that are best kept private within our business. We hope you can respect that. Even if it leaves some things unsaid, just know this was not an easy or quick decision. This was done with a ton of thought and a ton of pain. Mixing business and friendship is tricky, and this is obviously the first time we've had to go through something like this. And when that happens, especially in a public-facing media company like ours, you walk a very difficult and fine line between individual privacy and honoring the trust of the audience that's responsible for everything we do. So we promise that's not lost on us. We're doing our best to navigate it for the first time. As far as the timing and communication around all this, could we have handled it better? Of course, yes. We've taken your feedback to heart on that. Again, doing this for the first time, there was not a blueprint for how to do it, and there was a lot of travel and a lot of complications to this. Kevin's preference on when the statement would go out, we kind of let him take the lead on the statement and all that. We agreed to just thought it would make sense to wait until after a hectic major week to share the news. That obviously, as I said, could have been handled better. We would have done things differently. So we note the feedback there. As far as going forward, our goal is still going to remain the same as it's always been. We're here to inform and entertain avid golf fans around the world. We still want to push the envelope, do ambitious things on the podcast and on our video channels. And we appreciate everyone who's reached out and shown empathy. It's meant a lot to us as we work through, a very tough situation. And of course, we wish Kevin nothing but the best. I usually pride myself on smooth transitions. I do not have one here, but let's get to our weekly recap with our guest, Shane Bacon. Shane, my friend, we used to do this way more often than we do these days, but welcome to the show. Great to have you back. Had to, 3M week, had to bring in a heavy hitter to help recap this one. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I was thinking, early years, it was like Postmasters and US Open, and I've graduated to 3M. So I really appreciate you having me.
The Masters and stuff is easy, though. The 3M show is a difficult one. So that's you're at expert level. Quick run of show for this evening. Going to talk a little pro golf, the 3M, some news and notes from the PGA Tour, a little bit of LIV. Lottie Wde at the Scottish. We actually also have a brief interview with Lottie Wde on the back half as well. And we're going to do a little, I don't know what to call this segment, Shane. Do you remember this? I don't think it's a very good, that's the way I kind of went with it. We're going to kind of throw some blind, deep dive, mini dive stuff at each other, which is going to be fun. And in the course of doing that, I formulated a tiny little quiz that I'm going to give you because I didn't want to warn you what it was because I didn't want you doing any research on it, but I think you're going to have fun with that one.
By the way, Solly, is this the one you crack the high noons on? Is this the show or no?
You can. You're more than welcome to. This is not a high noon live show, but I appreciate the plug for that one. My boy's been waking up at 2, 5, 7. I'm gonna skip the alcohol tonight. So
smart. I had like a full parenting weekend, and like an unexpected birthday party. Both kids at the beach one day. I need as much high noon as they can pump in the veins.
I might join you maybe halfway through the show, but you're going to give us some Korn Ferry guys to look out for. You do a lot of Korn Ferry coverage with our boy James Nitties as well. We were hoping he could join us tonight. He had an unfortunate timing on a vacation, big vacation week for a lot of people. You're going to give us some Korn Ferry storylines for the rest of the year, and maybe the main event. We're going to review Happy Gilmore 2 at the very end, so you got to stick around at least until that one. But some winners from around the world. Kurt Kitayama wins the 3M. Joaquin Niemann. This is just auto AI formulates this sentence. Joaquin Niemann wins LIV UK. Lottie Woad wins the Scottish Open. We're going to react to that. Johnny
Winner
Kiefer,
of the week, by the way. Winner of the week. Let's give it to Lottie.
Oh my gosh, man.
Golly.
You got to stop me from getting overly hyped about this one because what a summer she's had. And as
Neil's
I
giving her 11 majors, I think. He's going to be all in on he's going to give her 15. You never know.
What would you do, Lottie or Nelly, more career majors if you had to ask it right now?
Yeah. So does Nelly have 2 or 3 right now?
It's just 2, or it's 3, isn't it?
3. I mean, I feel like this is information we should know. But
I should absolutely know this. No, it's just 2. It's just 2.
Okay.
The women's PGA and the Chevron. It felt like, it felt like when she won Chevron last year that they were going to start flowing in, and it just hasn't happened since then. But
I mean, I will go with Nelly just because she already has 2. But I mean, the way Lottie's already played the majors in the game, listen. We love overhyping these people, right? I mean, these people being any new player that burst on the scene. I mean, Scotty, same way, right? I mean, what'd you say was the FanDuel number something like, was it 9.5 or 8.5?
After the PGA, it was 9.5.
Gosh.
Now, there is some time value of money built into that as well. Like there's not much incentive for them to set the line low and all of that. But Data Golf did a dive into it too, and it was like he's more likely to win 10 than he was to like stop at 4. I might be exaggerating that, but like it is a really interesting analysis. But Johnny Kiefer wins the NV5 Invitational, he said, to the PGA Tour. Hamilton Coleman wins the U.S. Junior. Padraig Harrington wins the Senior Open at Sunningdale, became the 5th person to win both the Open and the Senior Open. I thought was a pretty cool stat. Sunningdale is incredible. I got to watch a little bit of that this morning. That was really good. But at the 3M, which is, of course, where we got to start, we're going to spend at least a couple hours on this one. Akshay Bhatia and Thorbjorn Olesen entered the final round with a 1-shot lead over Kurt Kitayama, Takumi Kanaya, Sam Stevens, and Jake Knapp. 4 other golfers, I think, were within 2 shots of the lead. Classic summer leaderboard. Kitayama went out in 29, including birdies on 5 of his first 6 holes. That was the higher score he shot on the front 9 this weekend, Shane, because he shot a 28 on that front 9 on Saturday. Very real tournament. Not much drama on the back 9. A bogey on 17 for Kitayama made it, a little bit interesting on 18, but cleared the water with his second shot, made par to win by 1 over Sam Stevens. Quick question for you there. If you're in the middle of fairway, you got all you need is par to win. You got to cover the water. It's 220, I think it was. I know these guys are different than us, but like if you're Kurt Kitayama there, are you shipping that one? Because it seemed like an automatic. He reached for 5-iron, just like, hit it over the water. I don't know if I'm shipping that one. A wedge seems like the best path to making par.
Well, I mean, I think the problem is if you rinse it, it's the same shot again, right? I mean, I was actually, it's funny you bring that up. I was watching it. I was thinking about Rory at 13, when he laid up at Augusta, and you kind of go, I don't know if laying up was the play there. I mean, you kind of always go for this, right? And he lays up and then, of course, dumps that wedge in. If you hit that in the water, you're hitting a wedge, and trying to make 5. If you dump 5-iron in the water, you're hitting 6-iron and then trying to make like the most difficult 5 of all time. I do like the back bunker play. I mean, obviously it didn't end up at a good spot. It was kind of in the downslope there, and he had to hit a really good bunker shot out of that. But I think when you're swinging the way he was swinging over the weekend, hit it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I get it. I really do. But it was just like, man, if you catch this just a hair fat, like a little, he just doesn't seem to be affected.
A lot of guys hit it in the water. I mean, you think about the way Goddard played 18 for the week. Obviously, Knapp was kind of posing on that second. It is, I think, a more intimidating shot than we probably think it is. So I think it's a good argument. I mean, if you're sitting there in the press building after, I think it's worth asking, what's the thought process there? I do think the layup looks more difficult too, though. It's one of those weird layups where you've got a lot of stuff in the way over there on the left side. So maybe you don't want to deal with that. You saw where Sam Stevens hit it, when he kind of laid up left and hit it in a bad spot. So maybe it's one of those, if it was a bigger layup spot, you hit it over there. But if not, maybe you find the green or don't, you're going to make 5.
Yeah. Second PGA Tour win for Kurt Kitayama. He, of course, won Bay Hill in 2023. He was outside the top 100. He moved from 110 to 53rd in the FedEx Cup, and obviously locks up a 2-year exemption that comes with the win. I think he was exempt for next year anyways, because you get a 3-year exemption for Bay Hill. That's one of the ones that you get a 3-year exemption for, I would assume. So what does Kurt Kitayama make you feel anything special in particular on the golf course?
I mean, the way he hit it this weekend did. I mean, the proximity, the whole stuff was crazy. What, did he make the cut by 1? He made the cut by 1 going into the weekend, and then wins the golf tournament at a golf tournament where you've got to go bananas low. I mean, that's not something you always see. You'll see dudes make the cut at Torrey close to the number and maybe have a chance when it's playing difficult. But in these, Birdie Fest kind of basically promoted KFT events, it's like normally, I mean, if you make the cut on the number, it's, you go shoot 67, 68 and try to earn a few more points. I mean, doing something like this is kind of unheard of at a golf tournament like this, considering how everybody was going so low. So I'd say that was fun. I mean, it's fun when he plays well. He was fun when he played well last year before, when he kind of got on that run. It was pretty exciting stuff when he went on that run, and it seemed like he was kind of in the hunt every week for about 5 weeks. But, I mean, this is to me the argument for pro FedEx Cup is this stuff. Like the last regular season events where guys can actually make a move and do something, even over the actual playoffs. Like these 2 weeks are fun for the dudes that haven't had good years and can actually change stuff. So like, I actually like these last 2 weeks, maybe more than even the first 2 playoff events.
Interesting. I can't do TPC Twin Cities, man. Especially after the Open, it is just such a harsh, tough transition. Balls stop. Kitayama was under a tree in the rough at one point.
Hit it like 12 feet.
It stopped on the green so fast. It was just like,
it lands and you're expecting it to rocket off the back. And he's like, oh, he's got 15 feet. Sweet.
I was just, in that moment, I was thinking to myself, man, you had last week you gave, albeit extremely minor, but you were giving critiques to Royal Portrush is what you were doing last week, my friend, talking to myself after we get TPC Twin Cities back in our life. But, CBS still does a really good job with the event. Nance does it. If anything, I would think this would scream Andrew Catalan event. No offense to anyone, but, I guess there's second to last event of the year. And Ian Baker Finch announced that he's going to be retiring at the end of next week as well. So I'm sure that's going to be quite a lot of emotion with all that situation and everything. But I've grown to really appreciate IBF. I'm going to be sad to see him go. He's a really familiar voice. I just feel like, again, ever since Trevor got into the booth, that whole crew has just vibed really well with each other, and it will be a little straight. I guess I have a different perspective on that. When Gary Koch and Roger Maltby were leaving, I was kind of like, yeah, it's probably time. And then when I hear them back on the broadcast, I'm like, I kind of miss these guys. I guess I'm ahead of that with IBF. I think I'm going to miss IBF more than I would have thought a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to your point on like the CBS broadcast team is it just always rolls and vibes, like everybody on the grounds and the booth is so good. And obviously Sellers and the team, the way they shoot it looks good every single week. Like every week feels like a big event. And when you put that whole crew together in that booth, like breaking it up, kind of losing somebody there. It almost feels like when Clay kind of left the Warriors, and you go, oh man, like I wanted these guys to all retire together,
What, any other notable performances, or what sticks out for you the rest of the leaderboard? We don't have to go one by one here, but for me, Jake Knapp, I think, is an interesting one. We have an interview coming out this coming week with Ben Griffin, and I was just kind of surprised. Again, before this week, Griffin like called out Jake Knapp as like a potential Ryder Cupper and a dude that is playing really, really good golf, and just like as they watch out for this guy. I guess I watched the whole weekend with him, kind of through a different lens, having been called out by one of his peers like that. But he is having a really good summer, and I think Ryder Cup might be a little stretch at this point. But
everybody's on the Ryder Cup, Saul. You know that.
I know. I can't
make it 40 players.
I made it 11 minutes in before mentioning the Ryder Cup. Even I made it pretty far. But.
I know. I would say Knapp was one. I love watching him play, by the way. I think Knapp is creeping into my top 5 favorite dudes to watch play when he's grooving. Just the tempo and the speed off the wedges. I mean, I played golf this morning with a buddy. We were talking about the guys that are really good at taking speed off wedges, but still flighting it. He might be like the best in golf. I mean, Rory's gotten good at that as well. When DJ really primed up the wedges, was so good at those shots as well. But he's like, just the tempo through the golf swing is so incredible, yet having that much amount of speed. I'd say Goddard is really high on my list in terms of guys having a great week. I mean, one of my big questions going into the post Links golf seasons, like, can he keep this going? Right. Because, and again, talking Ryder Cup, that was an argument. Is he going to make the team? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the fact that he comes right out of the gate, completely different golf courses, completely different tests, completely different questions you're getting asked, and to still have a great week. That was awesome. And then my last one's Pearson Coody. We're going to talk about KFT in a bit. Pearson's split his time between the Korn Ferry and the PGA Tour this season. That was a very good week. And it was good to see him play. Basically, he played the level of golf we've seen on the Korn Ferry Tour, now on the PGA Tour this week. And I don't know how he's going to get his card, where he's going to get his card. It's probably going to be through the Korn Ferry Tour because he's basically played the same amount of events both sides. But that was very good golf from Pearson Coody, basically what we've seen all season long on KFT.
Feels like there should be a spot or 2 or 5 or whatever for some kind of blended list. It just is. It still seems so weird to me that a good result on the Korn Ferry Tour means nothing on the PGA Tour, and a good result on the PGA Tour means nothing on the Korn Ferry Tour. But
and probably more important to your point, Sully, on the ladder, right? It's like if you go play a whole bunch of PGA Tour events, there's some guys we're going to get to in a bit when we talk KFT, but you go through their PGA Tour results, it's like 2 starts and a couple of them are top 25s. Like, that's impressive. That's more impressive than a top 15 or top 10 on the Korn Ferry Tour. Yet it does nothing for your status on one side or the other. I would love a little bit more blend. I agree with you.
The Goddard thing is so interesting because you bring up Pearson Coody, and I made this point last week of just like there's just been this crew of young Americans that have come out and like, I wouldn't say been particularly hyped, but it's like, hey, keep your eye on this guy, keep your eye on the Michael Thorbjornsen, and like no one's really made that leap really in recent years, and Goddard seems to be kind of a little bit out of nowhere making that leap, and it's so weird to have it this backwards where like I think links golf is the realest golf there is to be played out there, and he dominated that, played incredible over there, and I almost like wanted him to reverse it, like, hey, can you come play the dumb golf too? Like, I kind of want to see you do that as well. The Americanization golf. This is not I don't think a great comp for Bethpage necessarily, but I need to see you do it on some really green grass, some aerial waves, some backspinning wedges, control your spin, which is kind of more similar to the question that's going to get asked for that event. And is this going to be one of those situations where you were the hot guy in the streets and on all the podcasts for a couple weeks for the Ryder Cup and you go away, or is this going to be sustained and like off the backs of a win and a T3 at Portrush and all the travel to get here to top 10 again is really, really impressive, man. And you had my curiosity, Mr. Goddard. Now you have my attention.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. And Solly, you mentioned something off the top that I think is a great point. When is the last young dude that's popped? Like, who's the last young dude?
I said that, and I was like, I'm probably forgetting somebody that somebody's going to roast me for.
As you said it, I was kind of thinking about it, right? I mean, we had that era, which is kind of wild to say, but I mean, it's been about a decade, right? Where it was Spieth and JT, and then right after that, it was Victor, and it was Colin, and it was, Justin Suh and Matthew Wolff, right? All kind of come up at the same time. And you're thinking, okay, here's that next, 4 year later crop. Obviously, Scotty took a little bit longer to get there. I guess maybe Ludwig is the latest dude. But I'm just wondering, somebody that's really popped, right? That's came on the scene and started to win a whole bunch. And it felt like there was about a 7, 8, 9 year stretch where we're almost getting him every couple of years. And it's not really been the case as of late. Maybe that's because Scotty wins everything.
Might be. I'm stretching. I'm just going down the rankings, stretching on this one to say Akshay, right? I mean, he's been around for a while. Yep. Yeah. But he's 40th in the data golf rankings. Like there hasn't been a Morikawa Hovland kind of a rival here in a couple years, honestly. But Goddard's he was up to 27th in the rankings prior to this week, and he's probably going to be on the rise closer to 20th from there, which is like around Morikawa, around Hovland, around Ludwig, Robert McIntyre, that range. So it gets pretty interesting pretty quickly.
Might be Johnny Kiefer, by the way. We'll talk about him in a bit, but Kiefer is the real deal since he's turned pro across the world. So we'll get into some of his. I got some stats for you on Kiefer. Dude is unbelievable.
I promise we will get to that. Before we do, I want to say the new Hyperflex golf shoe from FootJoy continues to be a standout on tour. We're seeing a bunch of the world's best players put it in play, including Justin Thomas and Lottie Woad, who of course captured the Scottish Open title in her professional debut on the Ladies European Tour. Hyperflex is comfortable like a sneaker, but is made for golf with targeted performance where you need it. It offers a fantastic combination of stability and flexibility. It looks great too. The continued success of Hyperflex is a testament to FootJoy's relentless commitment to crafting the finest golf shoes for all players, no matter where, when, or how you play. Make sure to check out the new Hyperflex from FootJoy. Learn more at footjoy.com. Do you want to go through the few kind of Ryder Cup questions I have, or do you want to finish out in news? Okay,
let's go Ryder Cup.
I've shared a lot of my takes in there. I want to hear from you. I'm going to try to keep my People are very, very upset with me for reasons I'm still trying to figure out about anything I say about the Ryder Cup. So I need somebody from outside. I need somebody that's not going to tell me that all the captain does is order jersey mics for the team. So I respect your opinions on a lot of these things, and I want to hear what you think. But what are the biggest Ryder Cup storylines, in your opinion, at this moment?
All right, so my first one I wrote down is, does Keegan get cute? That's my question, because I think you've made this point. I've heard it a few other places as well. When you talk about Ryder Cup stateside, the tried and true guys, the Bros Club, the Dudes Club, they've won and they've done really well. Now, obviously, we're not going to have DJ, we're not going to have Brooks this time around, but the Jordans, the Justins, the Cantlays, the Xanders, that crew has been extremely successful in this iteration of the Ryder Cup. The question is, does Keegan get cute, right? Does he go with a Goddard? Does he go with a Ben Griffin? Does he go kind of off the board and pick somebody, to me, that kind of resembles who he was a few years back, right? I think that's the question I want to know. I also wonder if he's going to favor names like that, because he knows what it feels like to play your way, quote unquote, on the team, yet not get picked. And I wonder if he leans more towards what the Ryder Cup has looked like over the last 8-10 years, or does he try to go a little bit more Keegan-like and pick some guys that have been better this year, but maybe don't have that level of experience? That's my first thing. By the way, I think Keegan should be on the team. I know you've basically leaned pretty heavily against it. My thing, I think Keegan is a top 12 player. I got another Ryder Cup question for you. Go ahead.
Before you go past that, who is the like? There's got to be a name you leave off if you put him on the team, right? And that's kind of my overall point on the whole thing is like, all right, now Keegan, you've put yourself in this spot where one of these names you're gonna have to leave off, and we're gonna assume, let's just assume the rankings stay the way they are: Scotty, Xander, JJ, Russell Henley, Bryson, and Harris English. I think those guys are going to make the team regardless. Harris English, I guess you could say, if he misses the next 3 cuts,
got to get him on the team, man.
He's probably on
this year. Yeah.
He's almost certainly on. So to fill out the remaining 6. There's Justin Thomas
on.
There's Colin Morikawa
on. That's 7, or that's 8.
There's Ben Griffin.
You think he's on for sure?
I'm just naming names.
Okay.
If you're going to have to keep one of these guys off to put Keegan on, Keegan would be the 4th there. Cantlay, Goddard, Burns, Spieth. You got to take 2 off now at this point.
Yeah.
So, who are you swinging the hammer on those when I bring up those names to put Keegan on the team?
I mean, I know Cantlay's played really well in the Ryder Cup. He has not played great golf this year. I think Cantlay's one of those players that I'm probably going to ask, especially if you have a conversation with Xander. Are you comfortable playing with somebody else? That's another thing, and we'll get to that in a bit in terms of storylines I have, but you just got to, we talk about the Ryder Cup as 12, right? And Zinger made it 4. It was 4 and 4 and 4 and 4, right? I almost now look at the Ryder Cup as 2. Like, who are you playing with? Who are you going to go out there and battle with? It depended on the format, but simply, who are you putting the names you listed as the top 6, top 7, top 8 names? Who are they going to play golf with, be comfortable with, and be successful with? So I've got Scotty and Henley, right? They can play together. They can be successful. I think there's a likelihood that Sam Burns is not going to make this team, but you got Scotty and you got Henley, and I think that's a successful duo that can play together.
I think you can put Burns on the team. I think you should not put him on the team just to have Scotty babysit him. I think his golf has been better than people would probably realize, but I don't think he has to be the Scotty pairing. That'd be the wrong way to frame it or think about it, I think.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the thing about Scotty is at this point, feels like he could put him with anybody. I mean, I know he said that back in the day about Tiger. Tiger and Scotty, personality-wise, very different people, right? I feel like Scotty'd be excited to play with any of these guys, and obviously Scotty's game is going to speak for itself. I got JT and Jordan. I mean, I don't know if you run that back. I feel like they might lean back into that. You got Xander and Cantlay, right? I kind of like Bryson Spahn a little bit. What are your thoughts on Bryson Spahn as a duo?
This is not good content. I'm so hesitant to do pairing stuff on like guys that I don't like. I know like the U.S. has done the work on like Scotty and Henley, worked mathematically for whatever reason that might be, and I don't have the inputs to all that, but I could see that. I could also see Bryson and Scotty playing together in a 4-ball like they did at Whistling Straits. I know their profiles are very different now, but I think you could see differences in where guys would play in foursomes versus 4-ball as well. That's what the nerd statty stuff would spit out as well.
Yeah, but the reason I'm saying this is I'm simply going down the list and thinking, okay, you got Harris English. Like who is Harris English going to vibe with? He could probably vibe with a lot of players. Who does this game vibe with? Then you got Keegan, who I think is going to be more of a veteran presence on this team. And it seems like the type of player that's more comfortable in terms of playing under the pressure than he maybe was 6, 7, 8 years ago. And you got Morikawa floating around, right? A lot of team experience. So I think once you start to look at those names, you've got a lot of veteran names and players available if you wanted to get cute and throw somebody in there, right? A Ben Griffin or a
I think based on the
like
names you've thrown out, you have to cut it sounds like you're cutting Griffin and Burns. If you're putting Cantlay on.
Burns is not on my Ryder Cup.
Okay. 12, and that's fine. Right? That would probably be, it would not be on mine either, but yeah. Griffin, you're cutting then.
I mean, I don't want to cut Ben Griffin, but I think I'm cutting him right now. Just because, again, I think they're going to lean heavily into the names that have done well stateside versus not. But again, the question I ask is Keegan going to get cute? Like, does he get cute, or does he go with the standard that has been successful in stateside Ryder Cups for the American squad? My next question for you, does Justin Rose make the team? Justin Rose played awesome golf earlier this season, and then he was lost on the golf course. Now, he's found it a bit as of late, but when you look at the European squad, you talk about filling out names. There's not a lot of open spots on the European side of things. Obviously, Justin Rose, you heard him talk early in the season when he was playing great. This was a goal of his. I wonder if Justin Rose is going to make the team simply by the numbers, right? I mean, this isn't anything more than making 12. And when you go through the 12 on the European side, what are there, 2 spots available? Is that it?
Yeah, so on the European side, we'll go Rory, Robert McIntyre, Fleetwood, Hatton, Lowry, Straka are your top 6. That's not a guarantee that they'll stay that way. Sepp is hanging on kind of thinly on that 6th spot. Rasmus Højgaard would be 7, knocking down the door. Again, probably not a guarantee, but I'd say quite likely at this point. Ludwig would be 8. Victor would be 9. Rahm would be 10. And that's where you get into Matt Fitzpatrick
on the team. I think the way he's playing as of late, I just don't think you leave Fitzpatrick off this team right now, considering, the resume, the last, 3 months since the PGA, 2 months.
And it's a surprise. A couple months ago, we were completely dismissive of his chances, but he's obviously found his game. I wonder with the Rose thing, if the golf course is going to play a factor there. Like, he was a captain's pick at Rome, where they were able to set up the golf course, set up the pairings and be in control of how they were going to use him. And that it worked in a genius way, like escaped his matches by the skin of his teeth with Robert McIntyre and got lucky with the opponents they went up against, but it worked. Like, it totally worked. And when that's out of your control on the road, and it is going to be looking like, as it's trending more and more of a distance likelihood that the U.S. will lean into the distance factor, I wonder if that's going to play against him. And he has been bad over the last 3 months. I mean, straight up 0.00 strokes gained. That's what he's back at over the last 3 months. Like, that's a level. Again, I don't believe in printing off the strokes gained sheet and making your team out of that. But you look at it and you say, this guy's playing not great golf. It's tricky. Now, his career record in the Ryder Cup, 14-9-3, and a wily vet. I think if you get that far down, I think you're reaching for somebody with some distance. Honestly, I don't think that he would fit as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the 2 majors that are going to most resemble what Bethpage is going to play like, and you'd probably lean PGA and U.S. Open, and he played awful at both of those majors. So I don't think he probably makes the team, but I do think it's going to be a lengthy question as we get closer and closer to it. I mean, if he starts playing awesome golf again, maybe he plays his way on, but I think he's out. Now, here's my last question. You're not drinking anything right now, right?
Not yet.
You're good. Okay. I don't want you rolling your eyes. This is a legitimate question for you. Is Wyndham Clark totally off the American team?
Not totally off. That's not an eye-rolling question. Okay. He's played some good golf. Again, for this golf course, I think there's a chance that could make sense. I think they're running out of spots, though, especially, Keegan's very clearly going to pick himself. And at that, if JT and Spieth aren't going to make it on points, and I don't think Spieth's a guarantee either. Every time I bring that up, I say that's kind of with the expectation that I think he's going to play some good golf and make it pretty obvious he's one of the 12 best Americans. Still kind of waiting for that, and there's not a lot of opportunities left for him. I think it's still likely based on the names he's going up against. I don't think Ben Griffin has overshadowed him in a way that I know to a lot of people at home it may seem like it, but like numbers wise, that doesn't quite check out. And his name carries some extra weight. I don't think it would take a really good playoff run from Wyndham Clark, but we've seen that from guys. I mean, you remember in 2018, Bryson went and won 2 playoff events. Yep. Finau went and was runner-up.
Ryan Moore years ago, right?
That was the Horschel rule when they did in 2016, which thankfully they've gotten rid of that one. So
getting close sent to him like on the road.
Oh, that was so dumb. They picked it the week, but the Sunday before they picked the last Ryder Cup spot, just the last final guy. They set that up so bad because it was like, even if you wanted it, they took 3 captains picks and left the last one for the last week, the Horschel rule, because Horschel went and won 2 playoff events in 2014, but the team was already set, and they went. So the way that works is like if you had the 4th guy that you wanted to take, you knew who it was going to be, you couldn't do it. And if they went and had a bad final tournament, you couldn't take him anymore because it was all about picking the hot guy. And remember that night? That was the night Arnold Palmer died.
That's the same night?
Because there was supposed to be a big rollout during Sunday Night Football that night, and that happened. It was a super, super weird vibe. Everyone thought it was going to be Bubba, and they ended up changing it the last second. It was very strange. So, but
it was 2016. Now, obviously, they won that Ryder Cup. I want to see what Ryan. Did Ryan Moore play much or no?
I totally guessing. I think he went. He got the clinching point. I think he went 2-1, 2-0.
Nice job there, Solly. Very impressed. 2-1, 2 matches, and beat Lee Westwood 1-up. There you go. Nice work.
So that's where, like, again, not to redo the whole Keegan thing, about getting cute is an interesting way of phrasing it. Of like, dude, you guys have dominated this event at home the last 2 times. The most recent time was the widest margin of victory in the history of the modern Ryder Cup, which is saying a lot. I know that was a COVID year. I know that was weird. And if you just look again, and again, this doesn't always matter, but it helps a lot when you're, the home team. Like if you look at trend plays over the last 6 months, you got the best player. You might have the second best player with Bryson, and like you are eating them up in the middle range. Like once you get past Rory, Rahm, Fleetwood, and Straka over the last 6 months, the next names are Keegan, JJ Spawn, Harris English, Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, before you get to Victor Hovland, who's been the 5th best European over the last 6 months. And again, you can throw strokes gained out when you get there. Like it doesn't fucking matter. I get that. I understand that. But I guess there's been this sentiment for this entire year that Europe is dominating and playing so much better, and the U.S. is majorly in trouble. They might be in trouble, but it's not because Europe's dominating the golf course right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said about when you have a home game, you have people out there that people want to root for. I mean, I think that's a part of this. And like Jordan's a guy that golf fans want to go watch and root for, right? Jordan's a guy that's going to get fans going crazy. I mean, this is no knock to Ben Griffin, but that's a different situation if it's Justin Thomas, Ben Griffin, or Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth on the 3rd hole, right, at Bethpage. It's a different situation, and the fans matter. I mean, of all the golf events in the world, the fans matter at this golf event the most. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, it's 5 on the list. And I think sometimes having those names for a home game matters a little bit more. To your point, Solly, and I think you've been beating this drum, and I think it's a great point, and I agreed with you every time you said it. The margin's not that different. This isn't Scotty and then somebody else. To your point about Keegan, and I think you've made this point about Keegan a lot. And again, I hope Keegan makes the team. I hope he picks himself. But if you took Keegan or Wyndham Clark, there's not a humongous difference in terms of the player, right, at this point and who they are on the golf course. I think you've got to think a little bit more about, if it's equatable to player by player, what are they going to do for the team in the room? What are they going to do for the team on the golf course? What are the fans going to think? What are they going to do in terms of an entertainment product? And then maybe that's why they roll out similar names every single year.
Yeah, I again, for the 50th time, I would put Keegan on the team if he wasn't the captain. I think when you are the captain, like having decided right now, you're deciding between yourself and Ben Griffin, I think right now.
Yeah.
Or Jordan Spieth. And I just think that's a really funky spot to put yourself in. And again, if you're going off past results right now, Keegan, you rank higher on strokes gained. Like you win that, but that's not what this is about. It's who's going to play the best and what's the best effect for the whole team. And I guess my current problem with the situation is it seems like he's already made up his mind. It seems like he's picking himself, and it's not been even the way he like qualified it of like, Yeah, if the team asks me to play, I'll play on it. Or if I feel like I can, the team needs me or that I can really help the team, I'll do it. It seems like he's already made up his mind. I, again, feel like it's a dangerous spot, but probably won't matter anyways. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to get a lot of content out of this.
I'm gonna guess there was probably a checklist amongst him and the vice captains, and they were thinking, what do we got to do over the next 4 months if I'm gonna make the team? And I'm assuming a win was a part of it. And I think after the win at the Travelers, plays well at the Open. At least what he played for 3 rounds, he played well. It's just it seems like if you were checking the list as Keegan the captain into the playing captain, all those boxes got checked, and they said, okay, now you're on the team. Let's kind of focus on something else.
Yep. It does seem to be the case. Couple other things for the 3M as we move on. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see Patton Kazire hit the 3M logo in the pond on 18 and it bounced off and it cleared the water and he made birdie?
God, that's so sick. Why do we not have more of this stuff?
They had to move.
They should have they should have like a floating fairway, I think. And if you hit it on there and it stays, now you got to get to it. I think that would be a cool thing. Like you got to swim to it. Is
this a Happy Gilmore 2 review? Because it's starting to sound like a couple of those final seeds there.
Go down the ladder into the bunker, but it's like, why not throw a couple of? If you're the 3M and it's like, all right, by the way, on 18, we've got this 10-yard by 10-yard wide fairway that floats. And if you completely flare one out there and it stays on it, you can get to the fairway however you see fit.
Oh gosh, that was one of the highlights of the week that they had to move the floating ad in the middle of the pond. It was like, that is the most PGA Tour thing I think I've ever heard of. Most like summer PGA Tour event thing I'd ever heard of.
Awesome.
Not much movement in the standings that's noteworthy, but Nikolai Højgaard is now 1 spot out of the playoffs. Keith Mitchell 2 spots out. So those are a couple guys to follow this week at Wyndham. They always do a really good job kind of highlighting all the storylines.
And I think Chris Kirk played well this week, and now he's 73rd or something. So he's kind of right there as well.
He moved. That's exactly right. He moved up from 77th to 73rd. And then, Matty Schmidt is holding on to the last spot as of right now. But again, there'll be more. That's to get into the playoffs, and then the top 100 is where the status lies. And we have Joel. This sucked. Joel Damon made triple bogey on the 18th hole to fall from 15th at the time, I think, outside the top 30, which put him at 101 on the FedEx Cup list. The top 100 keep their card this year. Started the week 99th.
Almost made 9, by the way. The putt for 8, I wouldn't necessarily say it went in the middle. So
he did not think he made it.
That was not fun to watch from our guy Joel Damon.
Well, just go stuff it this week, Joel, and take the drama out of this one. Matt Wallace moved up from 90 up to 92nd in the FedEx Cup from 123rd. David Lipsky up to 88th from 115.
Solly, I don't know who said it on the broadcast, but somebody mentioned Matt Wallace making a run for the Ryder Cup team, and I was thinking to myself, I don't know about that. I don't think he's going to be on it.
You forgot the key here, which is, from June on, if somebody has a good run on any one single day, they just hit the Ryder Cup button. And it's an automated statement that comes out here. Like, could this guy be it? Wait until we get to the playoffs. The playoffs is where it gets really, really fun. Chris Kirk's going to hit a couple good shots. Could he be in the running for a final spot? It is.
Solly, before the Ryder Cup picks, you guys need to get like Cody or somebody to rip together every name that's been thrown out on the pods over the last 6 months that should be on the team, and just see how many you can go with.
That's
a lot of Tron.
They put me through hell on the Andrew Novak stuff. I mean, that was a really tough one, and I really like Andrew Novak. I really like Andrew Novak, but they got a little swept up in that one. But I'm assuming you caught a lot of LIV UK. I know you're a big you're big Legion 13 fan.
I mean, freaking Joaquin Niemann wins again. I mean, I don't know if it necessarily does anything for me. I mean, the Niemann major thing kills me. And I do this CBS YouTube show I do with Patrick McDonald. And after he played terrible at the Open, I thought it was a great golf course for him. Obviously, he was playing well. And when he emceed there, I'm like, I'm done with Niemann until he does something at a major. And I know he top 10 at the PGA, but every single major, it's extremely unimpressive. And you can win LIV. And listen, winning matters. That's true. This guy shot 2 rounds in the 60s this year in the majors. 2 rounds in the 60s in the majors this year. Got to do more there. 26 career majors, 0 top 5s, 1 top 10, 5 top 25s, 9 missed cuts in the majors for Niemann. He's, in theory, a better golfer than that. So I just need to see more there before I can get too excited about the LIV victories.
Yeah, I mean, it's I want to come up with something different to say on this, but like, well, when you have a tour that is of 54 guys and 30-ish, let's call them, are real competitive golfers, and 5 to 8 of them maybe top 50 players in the world, it's not crazy to win 5 of 11 events. Like, it's incredibly good golf.
He beat Bubba today. I mean, no offense to Bubba, but come on. Like, what are we doing here?
It just like it's not helping the legitimization of this league, I think, to when it's an unfair burden for him to carry into majors. Like, you got to play well. This is not saying there's not great golfers on LIV. Bryson and Rahm are incredible golfers. Tyrrell Hatton is an incredible golfer. Brooks Koepka was an incredible golfer, and there's a bunch of other like solid top 100 players on this tour. But it's just not. He could win the next 3 as well, and I would still just say, like, it's a waste of your talent. Still, like, I'd rather see you compete on the much more competitive tour, and it would be a lot easier to put your greatness into context than what we're currently seeing. It's not a new take. Like, I'm kind of out on things I almost like don't even want to cover the LIV stuff in passing on the pod anymore, because it's just become such a backseat thing. Like, it used to be dramatic and there would be great fun things to talk about every week, hilarious things. Ever since Norman left, honestly, it's just become kind of dull. Like, it just doesn't even
back.
it doesn't even spike much of emotion in anything here. When it happens on Friday, it's like, oh, I forgot there's a LIV event this week. But
the 63 at Riv still lives with me for me. And I mean, obviously, we've seen that level of talent. I think he won his first PGA Tour event by 5 or 6 shots. I mean, the dude's an incredible player. It just, again, the only time we see him play everybody, he doesn't play good golf. And I think that's the knock on him for me is.
And I think if he was playing on the PGA Tour, I think he'd be winning. Like
100%.
Like, it's not like that. I don't think he could win on the PGA Tour. That's not the take here. It's just like, I don't know. I compare it to Gonzaga winning their conference championship, and everyone got mad because I didn't know the conference. I still don't know what conference they're in. I don't follow college basketball anymore. But like, that's kind of where it's at. Like, yeah, dude, I mean, we know you're good, but like, you're just beating up on a bunch of dudes that I don't have to respect this. It is not in my contract that I have to respect this.
Now I'll say this. I respect. I mean, how many wins is it?
It's 7 in the last 2 years and 5 this year alone.
Like, I mean, I respect that for what it is. I respect the like, that's dominant over a lot of, like you mentioned, 10 dudes that can really play. Like, that's very impressive that you're doing that there. And the fact that you're doing that this consistently, like, kudos and flowers to you. But again, there's a whole nother step to pro golf, and you've yet to take that step. I mean, you just have not done it yet in your career. And so am I impressed as hell by what you do on LIV? Absolutely. That's incredible, dude. Like, keep winning them, get to 10, get a 15, whatever the case may be. But like, I need like 2 top 10s next year, 2 top 5s next year in a major, get in the hunt. Like, I thought he'd play extremely well at Portrush. I just looked at that golf course with the forecast we were going into it, and I was sitting there going, if ever a golf course for Joaquin Niemann, it's this one. And then EMCs,
Yeah. It's not too late for him either.
100%.
I think there's a lot, I can't even like do the math on how much money he must have made from LIV.
Dude,
which
he's
reminds
26 years old. He's 26 years old. I mean, Phil Mickelson won his first major. Was he 33?
33. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, we are not bashing Joaquin Niemann in terms of what he can be. It's just, when we want to see you be great, you've yet to provide us any of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, he's going to be a very, very, very wealthy man, already a very wealthy man, which reminds me, I want to thank our friends at SoFi, the all-in-one finance app, for sponsoring today's episode. The average golfer spends about $2,500 every year on golf, according to a recent study by Stitch Golf. It's a lot of money to spend on the game. I think Niemann makes more than that on a per shot basis on LIV. But personally, I want to know that my money is working hard for me. That's why we love SoFi. They help you stay on top of your financial game, no matter what your ambitions are. You can bank, borrow, invest, and protect your money all in one place and get your money right. When you sign up for SoFi Plus, their new premium membership, you unlock extra savings, rewards, discounts, and more that add to over $1,000 in value with qualifying activities each year. SoFi Plus is literally stacked with benefits. It's free if you sign up with eligible direct deposit or just $10 a month. Head to SoFi.com/NLU to learn more about how you can get your money right with SoFi Plus. Again, that's SoFi.com/NLU. Get your money right. Which, speaking of money on the LIV Tour, I honestly can't tell if this is a big deal or not. It sounded like it was. The Telegraph article that came out made it sound like this was important for the future of the Ryder Cup. Doesn't matter for 2025, but they reported that LIV Golf has informed its players it will stop paying the DP World Tour fines for its players to remain members on the circuit. That change will take effect next season. Some of the quotes from the Telegraph article. This was from Rahm's manager in a letter to Tour Chief Executive Guy Kinning, said Rahm has no intention of paying any fines per the report, which, again, if that would
just not going to pay. It's
a calling of a bluff, but I think that would mean he would not play on the 2027 Ryder Cup team at Adair Manor. And a source also told the Telegraph Sport there would be an outrage if the Tour caved in. The point is that the Tour fully expected the peace negotiations between the PGA Tour and the Saudis to have been settled by now, so they kicked this can down the road, happy in the belief it wouldn't matter. But with the no deal in the pipeline, anything but in fact, there's a huge problem looming. Also a quote, at that point, unless the impasse between the two parties is broken or the Tour changes its rules or even quits the strategic alliance with the PGA Tour and rows in with the Saudis, it is inevitable that the Europe Ryder Cup will be weakened for the match in Ireland in 2027. These are uncertain times, and there's a lot of angst about what happens next. Shane, I really, really, really hard for me to feel any sympathy for the LIV guys and their inability to pay the fines from the DP World Tour that they want to remain members of, when the amount of money that they have been paid directly by this league, on top of this league paying their fines for them. If you really want to play on the Ryder Cup, yeah, John, it might cost you $2 million, whatever it is.
Do we know what the number is? Like, did you know what they have to pay?
I don't know why I want to say it's like $100K a week. Like, wasn't that a thing? I feel like that's been thrown out, but $100K every time you play a LIV tournament. I think I do not quote me on that. I'm pulling that out of my ass because I don't think we know, but that would be my guess. So yeah, every time you do tee it up, you gotta shed $100K, which I get is a lot of money. But if you're Jon Rahm, that's allegedly making in the hundreds of $millions from this league, like, it's a cost of doing business, man. Tyrrell Hatton maybe hurts you just a little bit more, but hey, if you want to play in this event, I mean, I get on its surface, do you want to pay over $1 million to play in the Ryder Cup? Probably not, but you also kind of sacrificed part of your career to go get the bag, and you're getting the bag over there. So just pay it so we can watch you play in one of the best events in golf.
Yeah. Long are the days of Tiger and Phil and Duvall saying we need to get paid for the Ryder Cup. Now you got to pay $1 million to play in it. By the way, the whole manager saying we're not going to pay it screams Office Space. Like, I never really liked paying bills anymore. I'm just don't think I'm going to pay them anymore. It's fine. Like, I'm good. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just like, it's a tax, right? I mean, it's a tax for making this enormous boat and bag for so many of these guys. And it depends on who's going to call the bluff, right? Are the LIV guys and the names they're going to say we're not going to play in the Ryder Cup, and that affects the Ryder Cup? Or does the Ryder Cup say you got to pay this, you're not going to play, and that affects the players? And I think it just basically goes, it goes down that road. If you're Jon Rahm, to your point, Solly, how much do you want to play in this thing? And I think it's basically to come down to that. But it is wild. I just find it so wild that money gets talked about this much in and around LIV. It seems like every couple of weeks, right? Something else is thrown around, and it's all about the financials. And you almost get, like you said, you almost get immune to it. Like, you forget how much the fines are. You don't even remember what the numbers are because you've heard so many numbers for the last 4 years of all this stuff thrown our way.
So Rahm on LIV alone, I believe this is per Spotrac, and I don't think it counts this week. It might. I don't know. Has made on the course $49.7 million. I think he's played 25 events.
How much? 49 million?
49.7. He won
this season. That's not the bonus, right? That's just making money on the golf course.
Allegedly $300 million. Now, I believe that is not all up front from what I've heard. But so again, you're averaging $2.5 million a week. So you're Friday.
So it's a week's work. It's
your
a week's
Friday and you're the front nine on Saturday to go play in the Ryder Cup and still maintain kind of your dignity, honestly, as far as representing the game of golf. I got Hatton at $25.6 million on
the course.
On course. So again, it's about $1 million a week. So that'd be, you have to give up a full week in LIV London to be able to play in the Ryder Cup. But I don't know, man. If it was me, that'd have been part of my math on joining there, was like, yeah, look, there's just like a crazy amount of money to play in one single event, but like, look at this holistically, this is going to have to make sense. And on this, it's honestly kind of like a country club expense. Like, hey, like on the, the true analysis here, does this make sense? No, but I need this for a convenience factor and how it fits into the grander scheme of my life right now. That's kind of how I would view this if I was them.
Solly, have you ever done the breaking down how much you paid per round a year for your country club dues?
Just mentally, because I used to be, oh my gosh, was I absolutely gaming the system back when it was cheaper and I could play more. Now as you get older and you play less, it's like starts to.
You're like, it's Pebble Beach tea time almost every time you play golf. You're like, I've spent $500 a round. I played twice this month. Yeah, don't do that, by the way. And also, if your significant other does not play golf, also don't bring that up to them, because that's a road you don't want to go down.
Yeah. So anyways, that'll be, I guess, an interesting story to follow. But that shout out to the Telegraph for reporting that one. Shane, at the Scottish Open, Lottie Wode on the backs of winning the Irish Open, finishing T3 at the Evian. She goes out and wins the Lady Scottish Open. Are we fine? Just go ahead and get carried away here?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
Won by 6 as an AM, wins by 3 this week. I was looking through her finishes in majors as an amateur. I mean, this is like Scotty on the LPGA to me. I mean, I just think the way she can just dominate fields. I think the most impressive stat of Scotty's is how many victories are 3 shots or more. And Lottie just blows fields out. So I think absolutely, hell yes, let's get fired up about this. I hope she keeps it going. I mean, obviously we did a little bit of this with Rose Zhang, but it feels a little bit different than Rose. I'm all in on Lottie. I want her to win 12 majors. Let's go.
I think the only thing stopping me is the Rose situation, which is probably unfair. Rose has had some injuries and is still completing her degree. Like that's
college.
Yeah. So, and that I believe she finishes that up in December of this year, or somewhat soon. So I think we're going to see Rose 2.0 and be reminded of what that level of talent is. But man, I really love watching Lottie Wode play golf. It is, a takeaway from the Augusta National Women's Amateur was just the fearlessness, man. Like, and we're going to get to our interview with her shortly. The first question I asked her was just like, is there something more going on underneath it? Like, because it doesn't look like, you don't look nervous. You don't look like you're dealing with anything. Again, coming from somebody who just played a golf tournament this past week, like flipping on golf, it didn't go well for me. Flipping on golf and watching people just straight dominate. Like that perspective next to each other was, again, just kind of like you almost need that reminder.
Easy? Yeah.
You need that reminder every now and then of like how much of freaks these people are, and to just come out in your first pro start. And she didn't blow the field away, but she won rather easily there on the 18th hole. And man, it's an incredible start to the summer. And I'd be curious where she is on the odds sheet for the AIG Women's Open. Rolling right into a major week after this has got to be pretty darn exciting for her.
But I mean, like you mentioned the demeanor. I mean, isn't this the Scotty demeanor? Like it just looks super easy and chill and relaxed, and he gets fired up a time or two, obviously, on the golf course. Most people do, but that demeanor seems to be the modern day demeanor. I mean, you think back to the 2000s and the best players in the world. Phil was pretty chill in terms of being on the golf course, but I mean, obviously Tiger would get up and down and he'd get fired up and he'd get really excited. And it feels like the best modern players are the ones that just kind of take whatever is thrown at them and they go with it. And, you think about Xander, right? Amazing demeanor. Nelly, I feel like, has an amazing demeanor. And I mean, this is another player that kind of fits in that mold of like, this is the easiest stuff I've ever done in my life. I can't believe you guys think this is so hard.
Do you think she can reach, I wanted to say number 1 in the world, but do you think she, at this time next year, you think she'll be a top 5 player in the world?
Hell yeah. Yes.
So too.
I mean, I'd be shocked if she wasn't. I think she'd be 1. Like, you know what I'd say this too, Solly? The cool thing about this is you were talking about Rose, like obviously Rose going through all the things you mentioned, right? Injury, completing college, all those things. If we get her back to 100% Rose that we saw bursting on the scene outside of amateur golf into the pro circuit, this could be really cool. I mean, having kind of an international player and an American player kind of going head to head, it'd be great for the Solheim and obviously be great for women's golf. I mean, this is the dream, right? You think back to the battles we had with Annika, and it was kind of like Annika and Julie, right? And then Kari Webb and Annika. It was like always kind of these battles, and you got a glimpse of it. But having that in modern times, I think would be awesome. I mean, I think it would be great for the LPGA, and obviously they could market the hell out of that too.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, without any further delay, we chatted with her shortly after she won earlier this morning. Here's our quick chat with Lottie Woad. All right, Lottie, tell me there's something more going on underneath the surface, nerve-wise, while you're in contention of a golf tournament. Because if I'm watching on television, it certainly doesn't look like there is from your emotions, and there does not seem to be from the way you've played. But just please, 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 for those of us sitting at home, tell me that there's some nerves going on underneath that.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely was at the start. Hit a pretty bad tee shot on one, but got it going, and didn't really know the score most of the way because it's like no leaderboard. So knew I was probably up there, but I didn't know I'd been caught, and everyone told me I was caught after. So didn't really have any of that to be nervous about, but knew going down 18 that I had a 2-shot lead, so that was pretty comfortable. So that was nice.
How are you? You've had an incredible run here in your last few tournaments as an amateur, and now this is your first start as a professional with the win. How are you? How are you sleeping on some of these leads? Obviously, it's working out quite well for you, but you had a big lead at the Irish Open, and you close out the 54-hole lead here this week as well. How are you? How are you handling all of those overnights?
I mean, it's been fine so far. Highland was probably a bit easier. I didn't think I would lose a 7-shot, but 2 shots around, especially with the more wind and potentially the rain we had forecast today. 2 shots didn't feel like a lot, so it was probably a little bit harder, but generally it's been okay.
Are you, then try to be as honest with me here as possible. Are you at least a little bit surprised at the level of which your play? Obviously, your potential's been on display for a long period of time. Everyone remembers you winning the Augusta National Women's Amateur, but to come out and have this much success this quickly, how does that rate in terms of what your realistic expectations were for this summer?
Yeah, I think so. I'd always hoped I would get my card at some point this summer. Didn't exactly know when that would be, and you can never expect to be winning golf tournaments straight off the bat, especially on the LPGA. So didn't expect that, but I think I showed myself at different times throughout the years that I could compete out here, playing in the majors and stuff like that. So I think I definitely knew I had the game for it, but you can never plan to win. Just try and give yourself a chance, really.
Was there anything in particular from the close call at Evian that you took away as, something to improve on or do differently the next time you're in contention? I mean, you played yourself into contention on that final day and had an incredible final day, just coming up just a little bit short. I'm just wondering if there's anything you walked away saying internally, all right, I need to channel this. This is how I can improve on this going forward.
I think I mean, obviously I played the last 3 holes in par at Evian, which isn't great. Was probably a bit not as aggressive as I would have liked on the putt on 17. Kind of died it in, which wasn't ideal. And then the tee shot on 18 was the one I guess I probably think back on the shot I'd like back. I mean, those are the only shots I was thinking about. But I couldn't be too disappointed with 64, to be honest.
No, I when I was writing that question out, I was like, all right, well, she shot 64. Like, we're not nitpicking that much here, but I just was mostly curious of, how when when you're chasing, it can be, you tell me, I've never been in this situation. When you're chasing, it can be easier to play carefree, in the earlier parts of that day. But once you realize you're right there in contention, you've been in contention in major tournaments and won major tournaments. And I don't mean literally major, but just big events as an amateur. I was just curious if that felt any different, kind of coming down the stretch of being in contention in a major championship, because you're about to be playing in one here very shortly as well.
I actually think this one probably was a bit more nerve wracking because at Evian at the start of the day, I was starting around 20th and was just honestly trying to make sure I got my card for the top 25, and then had a good start and was like, oh, well, at least worst case, I'm going to have my card. So there was like a backup. So was kind of just playing pretty freely.
What is, if you're going to store away a shot you hit this week or a moment from this week to pull confidence from in the future? Like, what's the image? What's the shot you hit that where you were either the most proud of, the shot you'll remember the most?
I think probably my shot into 17, just making a bogey on the previous hole and a pretty bad shot in, and laid up off the tee and had I think maybe 175 in. So decent shot, and hit it really nicely to about 10 feet, and that kind of wrapped it up from there with her not making a eagle or birdie on the last.
Was it difficult on 18 to see a couple wayward tee shots from your playing partners before you hit yours?
Yeah, it was. I was trying not to look. When I saw the first one go right, I was like, oh no. And then the second one. Um, but yeah, I was just trying to make sure I just flied it down. And then moving the tee up actually made the tee shot probably a bit more difficult. But yeah, I was making sure I didn't overcompensate and go left.
Well, that's what I was curious of. Were you planning to lay up when you even started the hole? And then was there even consideration of, do I need to hit driver here? But then is it, well, I don't want to change what I've usually done on this hole. I'm curious if the situation dictated any of your thought process there.
Yeah, it did. I mean, on the tee, they hadn't finished the hole, so she could obviously have made eagle with it only being an iron in. So I had to hit driver, and then found out when I got to my ball that she made par, and I had 175, which like downwind was like easy, but with the ditch right and bunker left, I just knew I needed a 6, so I was like, I'll just hit 54 degree, and then I'll hit another 54 degree.
What does the celebration look like tonight? I think I know, but how long is the drive ahead?
7 hours, but I'm not the one driving, so it won't be too bad for me, I guess.
Does going into, obviously, does this change any kind of expectations you may have for yourself going into the AIG Women's Open this coming week? And do you anticipate feeling any extra outside pressure now that you are a winner as a professional on the Ladies European Tour?
I think there probably will be. I mean, even if I hadn't won this week, my expectations probably would have still been the same. Just trying to contend really and put myself up there. And I mean, this week was just great because I hadn't played links golf for a good year since the last Open. So I was just really trying to get used to it again, being in America. So yeah, now I've got this week under my belt for playing links. It'll be easier.
What is the adjustment like? What do you have to do anything with equipment, or is it just a mental kind of change? I mean, obviously the turf is different, the conditions are different, the wind is different, the temperature is different, all of that. But do you, is it what's the learning process like transitioning from America back to links golf?
I think with links golf, there definitely is some mental. You're generally in for a tough day. But just practicing flying it down again. In America, you kind of just hitting it high and stopping it. Whereas here, I'm hitting a lot of, flighted tee shots, flighted iron shots, and just practicing, I guess, aiming 20 yards away from the pin and it being moved by the wind loads is another thing you kind of have to practice.
You're gonna need that at Porthcawl. From the videos I've seen from that place, it looks like the weather can get pretty crazy out there. Maybe I'm just remembering the Senior Open from several years ago. I don't know if you've watched it.
I'm hoping it's not gonna be like that. But
have you been there? Have you been to Porthcawl?
Yeah, I played it about a month ago.
Okay, what did you think?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I played it on probably a perfect day, like 15-mile-an-hour wind, and even then, there's a lot. It's very different to the Open last year at St Andrews, where it's pretty nice off the tee, not too many bunkers, whereas they're very well placed at Porthcawl, I would say.
Well, we'll get you out here on this. I know you have a busy, long night ahead, but I've a little birdie told me that you're really excited about potentially a new goalkeeper that Leeds United has signed recently. I'm curious if you could tell us about that and your relationship with Leeds United.
Yeah, I'm a big Leeds fan. My granddad's from Leeds, so my dad supports Leeds. So I was born into it. So yeah, it can be difficult, but we're in the Premier League this year, so hopefully it goes well. And as long as the keeper can catch, he'll be in our lineup because our one's not very good.
All right. Well, I know this is a very busy evening and night for you. And we really appreciate you spending some time with us, and congratulations. Can't wait to see. This is how it works in the golf world. I hate to say this, but can't wait to see what's next for you. 10 minutes after you just won, but we're really excited about the summer you're having, and keep it up. Play great this week and have a great week.
Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to our friends at Delete Me. They make it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers make a profit off your data. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to your identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. What do data brokers do? Your name, contact info, social security number, home address, even information about your family members could all be compiled by data brokers and sold online. As someone with an active online presence, privacy is very important to me. Delete Me has set us up to run their actual programs, to get a list of all the places they're deleting your data from, removing your data from. If you've ever been a victim of identity theft, harassment, or doxing, or if you haven't, you probably know someone who has. Delete Me can help there as well. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. It gives you a list of all the things, all the activities they've done to remove your data from places you do not want it out there. So there's also a special discount for our listeners. It's at the bottom of the screen there. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for our listeners. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting NLU to 64000. The only way to get 20% off is to text NLU to 64000. That's NLU to 64000. Message and data rates may apply. All right, let's get into some segments, some topics here, Shane. Let's start with our little game. And again, if you can help me come up with a better name for it, I'm all ears. But I kind of challenge you with like a "Do you remember this?" We come up to with a couple things. I don't know how many you have to kind of teach each other about a little bit of history, maybe some recent history. How many do you have, first of all?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
wow.
6. 6
Oh
of them?
my gosh, you got 6. Okay, I only have 3, so mine are a little bit more mini dive. So I'm going to have you start first. And I have no idea which way you're going to take this. You have no idea how I'm going to take it, but I hope we don't have any overlap, but we very well might.
All right. So, Phil Mickelson, you know, Phil,
I do.
Remember him?
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of runners up in major championships. And I was thinking about the names. Now, he never finished runner up to somebody twice, which I thought was interesting because he has a lot of seconds. But I was kind of thinking about the names he's finished second to in major championships. Outside of probably one name, this is like the murderer's row of names. Okay.
You want me to try to do it?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me count them. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
His 12 runner-ups in majors?
Yeah, that's including T2s as well.
Okay. I thought there was like 6. I guess there's 6 in the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I mean, just U.S. Open alone.
Okay.
I think you'll get most of these, but there'll be some you will not get. I can almost guarantee you.
So 99 at Pinehurst, of course, Payne Stewart.
There you go.
That comes to mind. Was he?
You'll remember the next one. Famous PGA.
Was that also 99?
No,
01, David Toms.
There you go. There you go. Nice work. Layup on 18 makes par.
2 Bethpage to Tiger.
Tiger's correct.
The U.S.
Next
Open.
One. Well done. I'm very impressed. You
got
another U.S. Open here.
Shinnecock to Retief.
Debacle on 17. Nice work. Gooston is the next. You are 4 for 4, Solly.
Those are the first 4.
There's a reason you host a golf podcast and have been doing it for a decade. All right, next one, another U.S. Open.
Wingfoot, 2006 to Jeff Ogilvy.
I was gonna say his worst loss, but I figured that would be too easy for you to get. You got it anyway. You are now 5 for 5. Next one, another U.S. Open. Tees were moved up on 18, and Phil still hit driver, and then nobody got a wedge close.
Bethpage again, 09. Yep, to Lucas Glover.
That? Lucas Glover, well done. Now the next one's interesting. I didn't remember this one. This is an Open Championship. This was an Open Championship won by an unlikely name at the time, and Phil kind of snuck up in there into a T second.
Darren
Do you
Clark
remember this?
Darren
11? Clark is correct. Nice work. You have not missed one. You are on a run here. Next one's relatively easy. Another U.S. Open.
This is Marion Justin Rose.
God, you're killing it right now. This is amazing.
Get
the guy on Golf Jeopardy. So that is so we've got 4 left. We've got 4 left.
Since 2013, he has 4 runner-ups in major.
4 seconds after this. The next one, famous for the 18th hole, sun was setting, groups were playing up. They didn't want to play
Valhalla
up.
2014 PGA. Yep.
That would have been behind who?
Rory McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy is correct. And then let's say the person that is probably the most impactful to the podcast, no laying up
Jordan
early in its
Spieth,
career.
2015 Masters. I was going to say, yeah, I remember that one.
And then you'll know the next one, a famous duel. Probably the best Phil ever played in a major.
Stenson
and he didn't win.
Open Championship. What this career is insane.
It's so good. And then the last one.
The Masters.
What's the last one?
The Masters in Was it to Scheffler or to Rahm? 23 to Rahm?
23, Jon Rahm. So
Jesus.
this guy has finished second to Payne Stewart, David Toms, Tiger, Goosen, Ogilvy, Glover. I mean, listen, Glover's had a solid career. No knock to him. Darren Clark as well. Rose, Rory, Spieth, Stinson, Rahm. So in terms of the players outside of Ernie not on the list, or VJ, but outside of the players that have been basically the most impactful players of the last, 25 years of golf, he's pretty much finished runner-up to all of them outside of three names, one of them being, new age Scotty Scheffler.
We talked so little about what this segment was going to be, and that was like the perfect start to it. That's exactly what I wanted to do with this. I had no idea where you're going to take it, but that's the fun stuff I'm looking for. Right here.
But when I started to do it, Solly, I just, again, you remember Payne. I remember David Toms because I was a big Phil guy. Like I was like Big Randy, right? I'm a lefty growing up. Of course, I'm going to be a Phil guy. And I remember the David Toms layup, but you just kind of forget Rory, Spieth, Rahm. Like it's pretty wild how long Phil's been competitive.
Man, that was a great one. All right, I'm going to go next. If I was to ask you, just again without guessing or too much thought, how many times do you think Kenny Perry won on the PGA Tour?
Oh my goodness. I want to go higher than the number probably is. I'll say 8 times.
It's a good guess, but he won 14 times on the PGA Tour.
14 times.
Exactly. This I stumbled on this one in doing a little bit of research, but I was looking at as I want to do, I was looking at 2008 leaderboards. And I'm going to ask you, do you remember his 2008, 2009? Because I bet you don't, because I did not. I knew it was good, but I didn't know it was this good. In 2008, he won the Memorial, one of the Buicks, I forget which one, and the John Deere, all within 45 days of each other. And he also lost in a playoff at the AT&T Classic. So that was second most on tour in 08 behind Tiger's 4. Wow. Now, granted, Tiger had like 6 starts in 2008 and still led. In 2009, he flipped over and won the FBR Open and Phoenix Open. Travelers as well. He also lost the Masters in a playoff that year by bogeying the last 2 holes to fall into that playoff that Angel Cabrera eventually won. So in all of the 2000s in a single season, the only guys to win 3 events or more in a season were Tiger, Phil, VJ, Ernie, Davis Love. That's kind of hitters only in that. The lesser names in that list, Mike Weir, David Toms, Steve Stricker, and Kenny Perry. And Kenny did it twice because in 2003, he also won 3 times.
Jeez, that is unbelievable. I did not remember that at all.
Just a very underrated career. And I don't think we were ever going to do a deep dive on it, but I wanted a segment to just honor Kenny Perry's legacy. Should have won the 96 PGA as well. Famously went out and hung out in the booth after finishing up and didn't warm up and lost in a playoff to Mark Brooks. I think he made bogey or didn't birdie the 18th after spending all the time in the booth. Would have been a hometown win there in Kentucky. But
so the final round, Perry was at 12 and Brooks was at 10 on the 18th tee, and Perry bogeyed 18 and Brooks birdied 18 for them to fall in that playoff.
That's tough.
Ah, that's tough.
Par 5, 18th. Yeah,
tough sitch there. Yeah, and Brooks made birdie in the playoff. Wow, Kenny Perry could have been a 2-time major winner. Could be in the Champions Dinner picture every year. That's got to be the thing that eats at you because, he's probably made, what he made, probably 50 million or something on tour. I mean, during that era, maybe more, maybe 60. But not being in that.
I doubt it's that high, honestly.
Okay.
I can get you that. Career 44.3 mil. Yeah.
I mean, he's living okay.
Yeah,
I got one for you then. Since we're going down the so Solly, it's been a pretty good run on the PGA Tour, right? I mean, the last, let's say, year and a half or so, it's felt very good. Mm-hmm. I remember when there was that transition, it felt like the LIV guys left. And it felt like there was kind of the no-name random guys winning a lot of tournaments, and we were kind of going, is this what it's going to be like from now on? Solly, you and I were growing up. There were times when it wasn't this much fun. So I just was scrolling through some seasons. So I'm going to go take you back to 2011. Now, do you remember this era of golf? This was the Luke Donald and Lee Westwood and Martin Keimer was starting to buck a little bit.
Yep.
These were kind of the best players in the world. So Phil Mickelson in 2011 won in Houston. That was on April 3rd. Okay, April 3rd, 2011. Phil won in Houston. Let me read you the winners before Phil won in Houston on April 3rd. You ready for this? Jonathan Bird, Mark Wilson, Johnny Vegas, Bubba, Mark Wilson again, D.A. Points, Aaron Badley, Luke Donald, Johnson Wagner, shout out, Sabatini, Nick Watney. I think he was the only golf guest on the Bill Simmons podcast ever. Michael Bradley, Gary Woodland, Martin Laird. So just listen, no knock to any of those guys. Very impressive what you did as a pro golfer. But 2011 on the PGA Tour, a little different than what we're experiencing in 2025.
That what I originally challenged you to was like to go. We're going to go back into history and find some of the worst leaderboards of the last 25 years. And I did find a couple of these streaks that you're talking about here. And I'm just now looking this up on the spot because I feel like 2014 was also similar. And maybe my memory's not holding up as well. But 2014 started Zach Johnson, Jimmy Walker, Patrick Reed, Scott Stallings, Kevin Stadler, Jimmy Walker again, Bubba, Jason Day, Russell Henley, Patrick Reed, Chesson Hadley, John Senden, Matt Every, Stephen Bowditch, Matt Jones before Bubba. So not quite the level of 2011, but I just remember Sung-Yil No won the Zurich shortly after that. I remember thinking, man, this was a bad time to start a golf blog. We were not on a good run of winners at this time.
That's pretty good. Anyway. I mean, it's just listen. It's a little different. I got a short one for you since I got a few more than you have. John Daly, John Daly, right?
Yeah.
He was on Happy Gilmore too. Thought he did a great job on Happy Gilmore too, by the way. PGA Tour career, 548 PGA Tour starts for John Daly, 5 wins. 2 of those, of course, were major championships. But John Daly was an up and down golfer. I was interested in what the number would be of top 10s out of 548 career PGA Tour starts for John Daly. Now you can guess anything you want. There's no right or wrong answers. John Daly famously kind of in the tournament or not in the tournament at all. How many top 10s in his career? 550 starts to his career.
28.
35 top 10s. So about 6% of the time, John Daly finished in the top 10. And I was starting to kind of compare that to like some of the modern players. And I mean, like Scotty's basically double that already. I mean, it is. John Daly has had maybe the most interesting PGA Tour career of all time. When you dive into it, when you really dive into it, played a ton of golf, one of the most popular figures in the game for decades, still is when you think about him, right? Still is a name that people still talk about. If you hit it long, you'll hear an old guy say, "Oh man, you swing like John Daly," but the consistency not always there for our man.
I'm just looking at like where Daly ranks on the career Data Golf career points list. He's between Bill Glasson and Steve Flesch.
That seems like a knock to Flesch.
153rd in career points again, which totals up just like your majors, your wins. I wonder like where he ranks among 2-time major winners in terms of how many top 10s.
It's got to be.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna look up. I need to look up like an Andy North stat or something. But yeah, that is. I just couldn't believe it was 548 to begin with. Anyway, shout out John Daly. You won 2 majors. That's 2 more than most people.
Well, you were talking 2011, which I thought we were going to have more overlap than we did. This is a brief one I had on my end, but just again, I knew this fact, but again, I just don't know if I've ever read it into the record on the podcast. But Luke Donald won the PGA Tour and the European Tour money list in 2011. Like at a time when there was not overlap on the 2 lists. Like
the tours, the tournaments didn't count for both.
Well, I think WGCs might have, and I think he did win the match play, which may have helped that. But still, like that's just ridiculous. He was the number 1 player in the world. He had 14 top 10s on the PGA Tour that year in 19 starts. Obviously, reached number 1 in the world, won the match play and the Children's Miracle. Those are the only 2 wins he had on the PGA Tour schedule. Lost the Heritage in a playoff, but he won the BMW PGA and the Scottish Open. He would win the BMW PGA again the next year, and that was his last ever win on the European Tour or the PGA Tour. He won the Dunlop Phoenix twice after that, but it was over very quickly after that. But just he almost gets mocked as being a world number one, but what he did in 2011 was epic.
Yeah, I mean, like so consistent, and obviously the stuff he was good at, he was very, 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 very good at, and he was also very good at a good time. I mean, I think we kind of laugh at that era of the PGA Tour because you kind of were dealing with this like Tiger injury, and then came back, and he was kind of popping in and out, and like Phil didn't do a ton, kind of in that era, and then obviously you have these guys that were taking full advantage. But yeah, that's
we didn't know what to do with a changing number one because Tiger was number one for so long. We thought it was a silly thing that like, oh, these guys keep trading number one. It's just like, no, maybe it's the first time it's ever been competitive.
So you mentioned WGCs. I got something for you. We were talking about Justin Rose earlier. Okay. You mentioned his Ryder Cup record. Excellent match play player, right? You think about Justin Rose as a great match play player. The match play changed to groups or pods in 2015. Okay. Justin Rose played the match play 9 times when it was single elimination. Let me read you his record during that 9 event run. When you lost the first round, you were done. Like you went home. Second round loss, first round loss, quarters, made the quarters. First round loss, second round loss, first round loss, second round loss, second round loss. That was Justin Rose's era at the WGC before it switched to pods. I was looking through some of the losses. Some were substantial, like beatdowny kind of things, like 5-4 and stuff like that. The opening one, the second round loss, he had to win that match in 20 holes.
How did you get here? What was the path to getting here?
It's just you just scroll, man. You just kind of sometimes just scroll on the old wiki and you check some stuff out. But I was actually thinking about, what I was doing as I was going through some of the match play wins from Tiger, when he kind of was really dominant when it was single elimination. And I kept seeing Rose on the left side of those and he was not advancing. I'm like, this is so weird. He's so good at match play. Not good at that match play event. Very good at the Ryder Cup.
All right, my last one. Again, another one just very much. We've made jokes about this in the past, but never laid the facts out on this one. Steve Stricker won Comeback Player of the Year in 2 consecutive years.
He came back twice.
We almost
can't come back a third time.
I feel like we should talk about it every week. He lost his card in 2004, and then at age 39, I mean, it is a ridiculously sick story. At age 39, playing on sponsor exemptions, top 10 7 times that year, and was voted Comeback Player of the Year. In 2007, he won in his 4th career event, first win in 11 years. He had 9 top 10s that year. He actually had some comments about winning this event, winning that award in back-to-back years. He said, I don't know if the award has the correct name or not. I mean, I won this last year, and I don't know what I did to deserve it again this year. I thought you would have to stink at golf for a while, which I did for last year. He was 162 on the money list in 05, and rose to 34th in 06. Then he went from 34th to 4th in 07. So again, I don't really know if he was coming back in 07. Maybe they just were like kind of forgot about the timeline of events or that he had won it the year before. But I will just never. It almost ruined the award. Went away eventually because
literally because of that. Yeah,
I mean, like, yeah, they stopped giving away the belt to when young Tom Morris won the Open Championship 3 times in a row. And then they just stopped the Comeback Player of the Year award. What do you think, off the top of your head? What do you think the highest ranking Stricker ever achieved was in the official World Golf Rankings?
Did he get to 3?
He got to 2 in 2009. He was the second best player in the world.
You know what's crazy, Solly, about Steve Stricker in the move he has? Is he had the driver yips. It seems like a golf swing that like legitimately can't hit a wayward tee shot.
Well, I think he had to change to that swing because of it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like so short. It's simply on plane. Like there's no issues. But I mean, the fact that guy's golf swing, the guy that we remember, President's Cup playing with Tiger was obsessed with him. The fact that guy was spraying it is so wild to me.
I mean, you go back and look at his run in this time period. I mean, in Data Golf, in 2013, he was a plus 2.8 player, which is like better than Rory right now. Like, wow, how freaking good he was in 2013. And his iron play is incredible. His drive, I mean, just through accurate. I mean, again, it was not a arms race like it is now. Even with below average distance off the tee, he was way above average in strokes gained off the tee. Like he was just an incredible player. And we all know about the putting.
Two more for you really quick. How many playoffs do you think Jordan Spieth's played in his career on the PGA Tour? He's 31 years old.
3.
9.
What?
Playoffs. He's played in 9 playoffs.
I could think of 2, and so I was like, I'll round up to one more. I know he played Valspar, that one with Reed. I thought a lot about that one, and then
he
Travelers,
won that one.
2017. We watched that one together in Scotland.
Yeah,
when he
on an iPad
shot.
and with really shoddy Wi-Fi.
Really bad.
I think it actually dipped out like as he was holding out the bunker shot. Here, I'll give him to you. 13 John Deere, obviously first win. Wyndham 13, Valspar 15, Houston 15, Deere 15, Travelers 17, Northern Trust in 17, and then Heritage in 22 and 23.
So he has what's his record in them?
5-4 record in the playoffs, but 9 is a lot. He's 31 years old. I thought that was a crazy one. And then just for fun, remember the Grand Slam of Golf? How much fun the Grand Slam of Golf used to be?
Of course.
In a silly season event. In 2000, Tiger won a lot of majors that year. So, they'd fill people in. Who do you think were the 2 that got the fill in that year? By the way, both VJ and Tiger played that year. So you get a fill in. Just take a guess. 2000. Who do you think got the nod?
It's gonna be really random. But was Sean O'Hare one of them?
No. I don't know about 2000 for O'Hare. That might have been a little early for Sean.
What about Camilo Villegas? No, it's probably too early.
You're going a little too young. This was Zinger, our man.
Okay.
Zinger gets the nod, and Tom Lehman gets the nod. And I really at some point when No Laying-Up's podcast count gets to 3,800, I need a serious deep dive on the Grand Slam of Golf. I need to figure out how you got picked. How you were the name that got added. I'm assuming you got paid, or you at least could make money from it, right? Even if you finished last. By the way, speaking of John Daly in the Grand Slam of Golf, played in 2, finished last in both. Was not surprised to see that.
But top 10s.
A couple throw them on the sheet.
You know what I love about Daly? He won both of his majors in Ryder Cup years and didn't make either team. And they were home for both of them.
You think about that modern times, people would have lost their minds. They don't wanted them on the team, right? You know what? Put him on the team now. Let's add him to the list. Put him on. Let's go. He can still hit it. I watched the Bryson video. All right, those are all mine. I got that was fun. I like doing that.
Well, okay. So my deep diving did lead me into looking at a lot of old tournaments. Has led me to my quiz section for you.
Okay,
and I'm going to name the sponsor of the event. And you're going to have to tell me if that event is still going and what event it is.
Okay.
You've already gotten the first one. So you're going to start off with a free space here, which is the FBR Open. Because when I saw this, I didn't remember what that was. You lived there. So it was easy for you.
That's the Phoenix Open. Yeah. The FBR days. Was that, I think Mahan still was Mahan might have won it when it was the FBR, when he shot 65 on the weekend.
Okay. I wasn't expecting to get stunted on that
honestly,
hard. But
honestly, you don't have to look that up.
Okay. This one's kind of cheating a little bit because the name of the course is actually in the full version of this, but the sponsor was Bank of America. Do you remember what event this was?
Bank of America. The turn, you said the name of the golf course is in it?
The Bank of America blank is
gotcha.
This might be a hint.
Is that Colonial?
It is. That is exactly right. That's really well done.
There you go.
All right, the AT&T Classic.
Oh man. Oh gosh. I think, what was that like? Is that the Potomac one or something? AT&T Classic. I have no clue. Do you want me to just guess one? It's not. I mean, I'm assuming it's not the St. Jude, because I think it was still the FedEx St. Jude forever. What is it?
It's the Atlanta Classic, which went defunct in 2009.
Oh, so I forgot that was an option. Not still around. Okay.
Not still around. The first 2 are still around. That one is not still around. What about the Chrysler Classic?
Chrysler Classic, I think, is still around. Oh, no. Chrysler Classic. Was that Doral?
No, it was not. That was the Tucson Open.
Oh, that's what I was about to say.
I thought you might get it with Arizona, but that one ended in 2006.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff ended
by the way, use my college newspaper credential once to go watch Ty Tryon play there. And I remember Ty Tryon that year, he got his card, blocked one out of bounds, And I was like, I'm gonna get his ball, right? I'm gonna get the Ty Tryon ball. And some volunteer, just 6-year-old volunteer, just sprinting to beat me to get the golf ball so we could have it. I was like, all right, well, that's yours. But yeah, went out and covered it one time. Covered it as a college journalist.
Little did you know there was going to be plenty of Ty Tryon balls going OB that you could have.
It's been a few.
Sorry, I'm sorry,
Ty.
Ty.
I hope Ty's still doing okay.
The Pods Championship.
Used to be talking about Kenny Perry. I think Kenny Perry might have won the Pods a couple times. I think the Pods is defunct.
It is not. It is the Valspar.
The Valspar was the Pods. Okay. Did Kenny win the Pods?
He did not.
Oh man, bummer.
All right. This is the hardest section here. There's a run of 3. The Buick Invitational.
Oh gosh. I mean, it's so hard with all the Buicks.
Exactly.
The Buick Invitational. So one of them was one of them Firestone? Or was that a WGC? That was a WGC. Buick Invitational. Oh gosh. I don't think it's still around.
It is still around. It's Torrey.
Buick Invitational was Torrey. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was Buick Open.
Which will bring us, we can do that one next. The Buick Open.
Is the Buick Open the 3M?
The Buick Open stopped in 2009. That was the Michigan one.
Okay. Kind of in the same area.
The Buick Championship. There's so many Buicks.
There were 3 Buicks.
There were 3.
I mean, I don't even remember the Buick Championship. Did Tiger play in these too?
He must have.
Buick Championship. Oh gosh.
It's still around if that helps.
I'll say is it the Wyndham?
It's the Travelers. I do not remember this at all. Right?
But I mean, Tiger didn't win that thing.
I don't think he ever won there. No.
So wait. Can I ask you a question? I don't know a ton of people that own Buicks over the years. Like, was Buick printing this money that they could just do this all over the place?
It was the Tiger thing. He had to have played it. So the Buick Championship was only 3 years, 04 to 06, won by Brad Faxon, Woody Austin, and JJ Henry.
It was only in existence for a couple. I'm wondering if Tiger ever
it's still the Travelers, but it was only Buick sponsored it for
the
those
title
3 years.
Sponsorship,
yeah.
Right? God, that's tough. God, Buick. Shout out Buick. I'd like to know how many car sponsorships have been involved in any of these golf tournaments over the years. The fact that they were that dominant. Buick was like the early day FedEx.
Well, I think when Buick Open stopped in 09, Tiger in 09, things changed for him right around that time period. I wonder if that had anything to do with them getting out of
Do you remember when they came out with the Buick car that had the 3rd door for your golf clubs?
I don't think I do.
Oh yeah, it was like a convertible, and it had like this little side hatch for your golf clubs. And that was like the selling thing.
Final 2, the Booz Allen.
Oh, the Booz Allen, that's not the John Deere, is it? That 84 Lumber?
No, it was the Kemper Open, and that also stopped in 2006.
Okay.
Booz Last Allen one, the BC Open. I know, these are the BC Open.
I think the BC Open is the John Deere.
Nope, that ended in 2006.
The BC Open's done too.
Yeah.
God, that's tough.
That was a really hard quiz, but I was having a lot of fun like trying to figure out what these were. I thought you might get a few more.
The BC Open was sick. When did it finish?
2006. A lot of stuff went defunct in 06 and 09, which is another thing I learned. We started this process to like dive into old defunct golf tournaments. I don't think we ever got all the way around to completing it. But
do you know a guy in 2002 won the BC Open? His name was Spike McRoy. That is a sick name.
He's going to be in Happy Gilmore 3. Spike McRoy.
Spike McRoy won a couple of times on the Hooters Tour, twice on the Korn Ferry. What a stud.
All right, so that's the end of our deep dive, mini dive, whatever section. That was a blast. We got to do that again. Let's pick back up the next time you're on. Names. That was fun. All right, you're the Korn Ferry guy. I want you to give the listeners 5 Korn Ferry guys to watch out for on the PGA Tour next year. Doesn't have to be the top 5 guys on the list, but guys that have caught your eye in particular. What do you got?
So Johnny Kiefer's the easy one. Obviously, just picked up his 2nd win, tour bound, all that stuff. Let me give you just a little background on this guy. Went to Baylor. turned pro in 2024, goes to PGA Tour Americas, okay? Solly, he played 10 events on PGA Tour Americas last year, 9 top 10s, 4 seconds, and a win, okay? Goes to the Korn Ferry Tour this season. And by the way, his lone finish outside the top 10 was a T19 when he shot 18 under at the event on PGA Tour Americas. Korn Ferry this year, 16 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, including a playoff loss, 10 top 25s. Incredible, like across the board. One of those dudes that's got everything. Hits it great, hits it plenty long, iron player, short game, all that stuff. I feel like Kiefer's like lock city for a win next season, maybe at the BC Open. You never know. But I like Kiefer. I think Kiefer's of the, let's call it the 3-year crop of KFT players right now. I think Kiefer's the best that we've seen.
Wow.
And I think he's going to be very, very impressive in a very short amount of time. We'll still play some KFT events to kind of lock up the top spot, which is going to be tough because it's been very impressive this season. Next one's Neil Shipley, obviously a name a lot of people have heard of. Burst on the scene with the U.S. Amateur Cherry Hills. I'd say it took him a little bit of time to kind of get to the point he's gotten to, but he's been awesome this year. He's won twice on the Korn Ferry Tour and has the sustainable game kind of the modern player. Bombs it, really good putter, all that good stuff. Feel like Shipley will be he'll be a factor, I think, on the PGA Tour quickly in 26 and beyond.
Such an easy guy to root for, too.
Like he's cool as hell, yeah.
I kind of thought there was maybe a shtick there that would have gotten old to this point. I think he's just genuinely.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
like it seemed like it was going to be this like long hair, like oh shucks guy, and no, he's like a real player. What does Tron say? Proper player?
Yeah, proper player.
Proper player. I mean that we
don't know what that means though. That could mean anything.
Does. Yeah, nobody does. We need to get proper player shirts in the NLU shop, by the way. Pearson Coody, we already mentioned him. Gonna get his card. Incredible, played well this week on the PGA Tour. 10 starts this season on the Korn Ferry Tour. 2 seconds, a third, a fourth, 2 T7s, and a T9. Solly.
Jeez,
I mean, that people don't do that on the KFT. Like no. KFT is very. You have a good week, you miss the cut. You win, you finish T38. Like that's what you see for most of these players. The fact that Pearson's doing this, he's already won on the Korn Ferry Tour. Like he's already been a great player out there. But I feel like Pearson's finally finding his footing as a pro, and he's been awesome. Kensei Harada is the name. You've probably heard that. The 24-year-old from Japan had a top 25 at the Sony Open this year. And probably needs to pick up a little bit of speed, but he hits it straight as hell. 76% of fairways hit this season. Very, very good iron player. I think Harada is going to be a multi-winner on the PGA Tour in his career. So he's a name. And then another one, and one of my favorite name to say on air, Pontus Nyholm.
Oh, hell yeah.
Let's call him TC's next crush out of Sweden. Proper player as well. He spent a lot of time on the KFT, probably more time than he wants to. But he's one of those guys like Nitty's gushes about this guy. Like loves the golf swing, loves what he can do. If there were 30 cards this season, I think it'd be a lock. The fact that there's 20, he's going to have to push late in the season to get his card. But I think once he gets his card, his game will translate well on the PGA Tour. Plus, he's a super cool dude. So those are kind of the names I'm looking at as we start to kind of really get on TV and wrap up this season.
Love that. I'm counting 7 events remaining here in the Korn Ferry season. You'll be down here in Jax next week covering the Utah Championship. What storylines? What should we be looking for on the Korn Ferry Tour? Give some people something to watch for as the season comes to an end.
So 3 dudes now that could get promoted, which is always exciting. Shipley and Smotherman both have a couple wins, and obviously Kiefer joins them this week with the second victory. The promotion's kind of weird late in the season, with the FedEx Cup playoffs and all that stuff. But we saw what Matt McCarty did with it last year. Obviously, get those options to play in the fall and see what he can do with it. He got the win. So something to keep an eye on there. Another thing to keep an eye on, and something you will see late in the season from a lot of the guys I just mentioned. If you finish in the top spot on the Korn Ferry Tour, you get invites into the Players and the U.S. Open next year. You kind of saw what McCarty did. He gets into the Masters and plays great at Augusta. Like opportunity to not have to qualify, big purses, big points in terms of like propelling you to 27 and beyond. Those are big invites. So you're going to see a lot of these guys like play late into the season, if not through the end of the Korn Ferry Tour season, to try to lock up that top spot. And the fact that it's this tight is awesome. You've had so many guys play so well, especially as of late, which is awesome. And one of my last things, have you been to French Lick? Have you played that golf course?
I never have. No, I'd like to though.
It is bananas. Like, it's so hard. It's like so fun to watch. They don't even play it all the way back, Solly, for the Korn
Really?
Ferry Tour Championship. 16, if you play it all the way back, could be the hardest par 3 in the world. It is an awesome, awesome golf course to watch late in your year when you're yearning for a little bit of golf. So we had some fireworks late last year, like putts that mattered from the final pairing to get other guys their cards versus them getting in themselves. Doherty was this guy that was so close, obviously, both times, not just there, but at Q School. But it's really fun. Like, it's a fun golf course, and we always have like a lot of drama late, big par 5 to finish. And they always put the whole location kind of back left where you'll see guys at least have a crack at an eagle. So those are kind of the things to pay attention to. I think I know I cover it. I know I do it on TV, but Solly, this is literally like the young dudes that are going to be the next thing on the PGA Tour. And it feels more now than it's ever been because of PGA Tour U. So just an opportunity, if you live close to one of these events, like to go out and see them up close, you can get really close to these guys like a Shipley or a Kiefer. But turn us on. Like you mentioned Utah next week. We're late. I mean, it's like cocktail hour for golf. And Nitty's not trying to have a little bit of fun. Plus, we're both going to have mustaches next week on TV. So
let's go. Yeah, you guys do an awesome job with it. It's a delightful evening watch when it fits into the calendar. So yeah, that's a good call out for this coming week. All right, probably the main event. Probably shouldn't get to this late in the show, but
I kind of forgot about it.
I know. Happy Gilmore 2 debuted on Netflix 2 nights ago. What's your one sentence review of Happy Gilmore 2?
Much better than I thought it'd be.
Interesting.
You?
Hour and a half long TikTok is kind of how I felt.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good one.
So I keep like, so I have to document how I sat down and watched it with my wife a couple nights ago, and we made it a little over an hour in before she made me turn it off. Okay, so that's kind of where how I started it, and I found myself laughing multiple times throughout it. Like it had some moments, and I saw somebody on the Everything app say this, and I can't get it out of my head now. I was like, yeah, I laugh occasionally at Super Bowl commercials overall as well, but like the overall Super Bowl commercial like formula, is a lot of misses and a couple hits. And that's kind of how I felt walking away. And I've read so many people on Twitter say, well, yeah, it's bad, but what were you expecting? And I kind of want to say to that, okay, so can we agree it's bad? Like if that's, I wasn't expecting it to be good, but we don't have to pretend that it was really good because we were expecting it to be bad. I guess, I don't know. I have my critiques of it other than Scotty was amazing.
Scotty was great.
Scotty
was like the winner of the movie.
Yeah. And it was off to a really hot start, I thought. I mean, it was kind of shocking, I guess. I almost spoil the, kind of the main through line there, but kind of a shocker there kind of had us like, whoa, really? We doing this in the early part? And kind of just filling in that gap of what's happened with Happy. And again, I know we're talking about a very not realistic movie, but, going through the attic with all the checks up there and everything was like the right hit of nostalgia. I'm just not sure the Maxi League storyline was really hitting for me, man.
Yeah, that was, and the villain guy there was probably the worst part of the movie. But I mean, the pros were fun. It was funny, right? Like, how old are you? Are you 38, 39? How old are you?
39, yeah.
39. I like how you took a minute to figure it out. So we're similar age. I'm a little bit older than you. I just felt like it was like, how can we hit all of this aged people's interest? It's like, these guys loved Eminem when they were in high school. Let's have Eminem on the movie, right? These guys love pro golf. Let's have these guys on the movie. I mean, I do think they did a good job of it. Just seemed like Adam Sandler's like, what famous people can we have? Like, let's have them all.
It's a movie of cameos, right?
It's literally the most cameos ever.
Let's do the script as fast as we physically can, and let's just get as many people running through. And it had to be a massive scheduling exercise. Can't even imagine what that looked like. And again, I'm not asking for an Oscar-winning script to go with it. It just I was like, all right, the villain needed to be like, Shooter McGavin's an iconic villain, like
correct,
hilarious in his own way and an awesome villain. That character sucked. Like there was no redeeming. Manatee, they didn't even explain that name as well. there's just a couple things I'm just like, well, why can't the caddy be funny? And I didn't know the caddy was Bad Bunny. I don't that missed me, unfortunately. Okay, so again, that's a cameo thing. But I was like, oh, the caddy should be fun. Like, there's all these opportunities for these characters to be funny that were missed that I think really weighed things down. But
Sully, you're like John Mulaney at the SNL 50 when he asked his wife, like, "Who is that?" And she's like, "It's Bad Bunny, dude. Like, what are you doing?"
I'm sorry, I missed a couple of the cameos.
It's okay. We're not gonna all get wins. I would say, again, like the fact that the pro golfers were that involved and were pretty entertaining was good. I do think comedy sequels have to be the hardest sequels. I just think that a sequel of comedy has got to be the hardest thing to attack, because friends and I were texting the other day, what's a good comedy sequel? Like, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, but like, think about like the bomb comedies over the last 20 years, like The Hangover and Anchorman, and these movies that were iconic and hilarious and were literal can't miss movies. And the fact that they go back to the well and can't really recreate that magic, I think, in my opinion, makes comedy sequels the toughest. And to me, this, like, I was pretty entertained most of the time. And I guess that's all I'm really asking for. The flashbacks to the first one, I would say, got a little tedious for me, just because, again, I that movie's seared in my brain. Like, I don't need the flashbacks, but I also know the flashbacks are meant for people that haven't seen the first one, maybe young people that are just on Netflix and wondering what's that about. But I don't know. I just like Adam Sandler, and I'll spend 2 hours with Adam Sandler for a long time. So I would say, like I said, it was better than I thought it was going to be, considering I was expecting to be a bit bummed out by a Happy Gilmore sequel, and it was. Again, it could have been much more painful.
Spieth was good as well. A very brief appearance, but the sending the drink back because the gin was wrong. I thought that was a good little.
And I mean, like, I would like somebody to ask Adam Sandler how early in the script did they write the Scotty joke, like the prison joke, because obviously it was like sitting there on a platter, but it was so good. It was such a good line.
Yeah, and him being in the prison cell was really, really good too. Sit your ass down.
It's so funny. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, again, Scotty's having himself a good couple of years, and the fact that he's basically the star of Happy Gilmore 2. The fact that there was like a couple celebrities in the movie that I didn't realize they were in the movie until like Instagram today. I mean, that's how many. I think Kid Cudi was in the movie. I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize Hunter Mayhem was the swing double.
That's
sick. Awesome. That was awesome. Yes.
Shout out to that call, whoever made that call. That was so cool. Would you say, again, most people who listen to this podcast have probably already watched it or going to watch it. Would you say watch it?
You have to watch it. I just don't think I will ever watch it again. I think it was a one-time go through. And again, it's not that I was expecting an unbelievable, like, suspenseful drama plot. I do understand the premise of the original movie is a hockey player miraculously hits the ball 450 yards and makes hole-in-ones. I'm not looking for like a realistic storyline here. It just felt like what are Bryson and Brooks doing with this Maxi Golf League parody? Like, it felt pretty much like, are you guys in on the joke here?
And they're like poking fun at it in the movie,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know, that whole like storyline just felt like beyond silly. And again, I'm not that the shooter versus Happy duel, it wasn't silly in the original one. It just was silly in the right ways. This one was just kind of silly. And like, all right, there's wasn't anything funny or entertaining about like the final 30 minutes, I think, of it, which I guess was, I don't know, just a tad frustrating.
So, and also one last thing, the villain golfer. So the dude that came out and whatever that guy's name was. So that's the guy in the Entourage.
That's also Haley Joel Osment, isn't it?
Is that who it is?
Right?
Ooh, I don't know. Is that right?
I'm almost positive it was, right? Yes, that's him. Haley Joel Osment. That's right.
Unbelievable. Is that right? Wow, I would not have known that. So yeah, like I look at him and I see the villain, the bad guy in the Entourage movie. He's kind of the same guy, like he's like the son of Billy Bob Thornton in that movie. So he almost played like the same kind of role of just like kind of being the dick, And I'm like,
but Haley Joel Osment's the kid in Sixth Sense.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know. But I'm just like, that's because I mean now like he's the same. He looks the same as that movie, and I'm sitting there going, how like you're like the same kind of villain in that. But the hip thing, I didn't really get, like the hip swing thing. I didn't quite understand that. It didn't really, I know they had to obviously figure out a way to make somebody hit it as far as Happy did back in the day. But listen, if we're going to poke holes, you can also poke plenty of holes golf wise in the first movie. I wrote a blog about it probably 20 years ago, like when Shooter chipped with a 5-iron, and like fired his caddy. I mean, there are plenty of weird golf things in that movie as well. But I'd say again, it was better than I thought it was going to be. And I was entertained for a couple hours.
Yeah. There was a lot of parts that were just like, all right, but this is clearly meant for like a 10-year-old. But at the same time, we're also like kind of, there's an alcoholism storyline to this, which was like,
something.
I want to laugh, man.
There was a couple of tough spots, man. That one, and then the whole villain guy.
Yeah. Don't really know if the, yeah, I know it's fan service, but like, I know
killing the wife. I was like, I don't like. I mean, like, I like her. I want her to be in the movie.
Again, I'm strapped into the fact this is going to be a slapdick comedy. I'm in on that part of it. That doesn't mean that it had to be written this way. I think it could have been a lot better. On a lot of
real quick, Sully, do you want to mention a potential cameo in the movie? One important cameo in the movie.
There is a very important cameo in the movie, and I can try to flash it up on the screen. I was going to try that, but if you hopefully you watch the movie very closely, we got tagged in a lot of these. But near the last scene, there's a TSA agent at the very end, and look closely. You may recognize him as the co-host of this show, Mr. Neil Icarito Schuster. Was curious whether or not he was going to get cut from the movie. Did not get cut. He is in the final scene, and if I remember to plug this in, I got to edit the pod tonight. I got to go back to my roots here, but if I remember to edit this in, he's up on the YouTube screen right now. We can post that on social as well. Awesome. But Neil made the final cut. He's in the movie, so thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, that was that. You sent that to me today. I don't think I actually got to that point towards the end, but shout out Neil. I hope we get a SAG card or something for that.
Yeah. So. All right, Shane. Well, I greatly appreciate you spending your Sunday evening with us. Anything else before we wrap?
No. Last shout out on the Happy Gilmore 2. I thought Paige Spranich killed it. Like,
she was good.
She killed it, man. I thought she did an awesome job, jumping in there. And I mean, again, you talk about smart little things that the whole production crew could do. That was a smart move, and I thought she did a great job. So, yeah, watch it. You'll enjoy it. And shout out to Neil's star of the movie.
One final thing I forgot to mention earlier, Victor Dubuisson, I don't know if you saw this. He won on the Alps Tour, I think it was, and foregoed the check. He won in a playoff and just said, nah, keep the money. And the second place guy got to keep the money.
It was like $7,600 or something, right?
Yeah, like that? He's in coaching now, and just had teased that he was going to maybe play a couple of events. But that's just a legendary move. I know it's not a lot of money, but I'm sure it meant a lot to the guy that it went to, and he's made a fair amount of money playing the game of golf. But that was the last thing I had in my notes for this week.
That is cool. I used to play a money game with a PGA Tour player would pop down there every now and again and play. And if he ever won skins, he would just leave the money in the shop. Like, he would never go get it. So I think a lot of those guys do that. But Dubuisson, man, you talk about a throwback in those days we were talking about earlier, man. That guy
match play.
He played a Ryder Cup, didn't he?
I know, 2014.
He played a Ryder Cup with McDowell.
Totally.
Crazy.
Totally did. All right, Shane, greatly appreciate you, my man. Thanks for helping us recap the week. We will see you this week. Let's play some golf this week if you're down here. We'll start working on that date. So appreciate your time, buddy.